Hey, oh, hi. Welcome to College Cinema. My name is Aaron, and I'm hatless today. My hat's over there, and I am just too tired to get it. Normally, I have Malcolm in here with me, but it's late at night, and I'm not that mean of a person to wake him up. But tonight, I thought we'd talk horror franchises, slasher to be exact. I'm a massive slasher fan, and see, recently we had news that Miramax bought the TV rights to Halloween, and why is that kind of a big deal? Well, see, Miramax already had the movie rights to Halloween. That was already a done thing. They worked on the last few Halloween. They kind of co-produced the Dave Gordon Green series of Halloween films, so they wanted to get the TV rights too. And the reason for that was so that they could, I guess, make an extended universe. Meanwhile, hey there, Alan. Welcome, man. You watching the Halloween 2018 on the Friday the 13th side of things, because Halloween's kind of usually the it's usually the fancy one. It's when everybody knows about it. And then this is its shameful little brother, right? On the Friday the 13th side of things, so A24 got a TV show coming out, and who would have thought that we would have came to a time when, like, fancy wise, like, I guess, this little, like, kind of pretender to the throne, like Friday the 13th, whatever, ever kind of outshine Halloween, which it looks like it has a very good chance to do right now. And of course, there's always Nightmare on Elm Street, and we can't even get a good Blu-ray set for Nightmare on Elm Street. So I'm skeptical with what we can get there. Now, one thing that I do hope that they do with the films, like with the TV show or Friday 13th and that, is that they stick with continuity, because Friday the 13th is really, really big on Friday the 13th has a timeline. Halloween usually has one. Friday 13th normally has one timeline that it doesn't really make sense. And continuity wise, so this is Jason from part two, right here, right here. This is his face in part two. So this is his face the next day in part three. This is the Richard Brooker makeup. This is the Steve Dash, or I guess for this scene, it's Warrington Gillette. The one scene he did. And I kind of want to get your guys' thought on where you think these franchises are going, or where they could go. Because right now, it's kind of up in the air. It's really up in the air right now because we got a whole SAG-AFTRA strike going on, and which is a shame because, come on, don't you guys want to see like a Crystal Lake TV series, maybe a movie if like Jason Miller and Sean S. Cunningham can hug it out and see what the hell they're going to do with a Halloween extended cinematic universe, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Freddy's Nightmares. I'm a huge Freddy's Nightmares fan now. It's a quiet night. I have to say, you guys are quiet tonight, but hopefully you guys will speak up. And it was a shame we could not get Malcolm in there tonight. But sleeping now. Maybe I should put the hat back on. Maybe that'll garner more viewers, right? What I want to talk about. I want to talk about where it could go, where I think it could go. Where are good places for it to go? Where are some bad places for it to go? I'm a little bit more worried. Well, I was at first, especially with the whole Miramax thing, than I am about like the A24 Friday the 13th. Because here's the thing, I pretty much, I like A24 stuff. I really do. Um, I'm intrigued by what they put out, and I was really hoping to see maybe like an A24, like a Ty West like directed Halloween, something along that lines. Well, no, not actually. See, Blumhouse didn't really make him supernatural. They kind of left it up to your imagination. Supernatural Michael Myers came in really in part five. God, watch Friday 32. You totally do, man. You really do. See, it started in part five with the whole like the psychic like link between Jamie Lloyd and Michael Myers, and went on to the cult. Uh, See, it all comes back. Daniel Farron is a massive fan of Friday 13th, and they put in this Man in Black character and didn't really explain it in part five because he had no explanation, didn't know what they were going to do with it. So Daniel Farron is a massive fan of the Halloween series, and if you've ever read the book, the original Halloween book, there's a prologue, and in the prologue, there's this tribe, right? And so this one of the members of the tribe is jealous of another member of the tribe because he likes the girl, and he ends up killing that member of the tribe. It's been a long time since I read it, so if I get something not completely correct, don't at me. Um, and it's kind of just a weird thing, like where basically is okay. There's evil. This town has evil. It's kind of founded on evil and stuff like that. But it never really goes into anything like deep or makes any really like solid explanation for it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, people said, well, they can do a like zombies. See that said they can do like an anthology series, but that's not an extended universe, is it? That's not a cinematic universe. A cinematic universe is something that ties all in together. And that's where I think people, are kind of making some mistakes with it. A cinematic universe is something along the lines of like what Marvel did, or what like Universal tried to do with their Dark Universe, which we know how that worked out. Or say what DC is trying to do right now, and DC tried to do before zombies. That's the thing. Um, it's not like, and you can't just like fraction off characters. So you can't like Laurie isn't a character that you recast into an extended universe like movie with. Like Sam Loomis, you can probably have him going after something else. But again, that's like, is that going to work as like a cinematic universe? It's going to work in the same way Morbius works in cinematic universe in Spider-Man. It didn't. So I'm hoping that that's just something that those are buzzwords. See, producers, company, corporate guys, COOs, stuff like that, they never do this. They're not creative. They don't do this stuff. The David Zaslav of the word don't know jack. So rather than like doing anything or working on, okay, having a creative mind behind it, what we get is they throw buzzwords, and I think that's what we're getting right now. Things to get people excited when nothing's been done, and they're just like it's like when you're in college and you're making spaghetti for the first time, right? Maybe not you. Maybe this is just me. And you're not quite sure. You don't know yet. Internet's not been invented. You don't know the 7 minutes rule. So you're like, yes, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. And that's what they're doing right now. Oh, cinematic universe, elevate it. The last thing in the world I would ever say, like if Miramax is doing this alone, is elevated. It's the opposite of elevated. Now that would suck. I think you know what I mean, John. We saw this with Jason Goes to Hell. It didn't work there. Uh, I don't think it would work with Halloween. I mean, like the whole idea of like somebody picking up the mask and taking it out. Like Halloween Ends, for instance. Uh, when I looked at the end of Halloween Ends, I always think of it as well. Uh, Jamie's, Laurie Strode is probably going to kill people. She's, she's correct. The mask is on the table on the inside, not because of the mask, but the whole idea of like evil, like you mentioned there, kind of just evil never going away, just changing form or changing shape. And the one good thing about Halloween Ends, and with that, if you buy into that concept, the conceit of it, is that's the last movie that you see for that you don't want to see another movie. The same thing with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which a lot of people really, really love, and I've grown to appreciate. So, and there's people that look at Halloween 2, the second one, and take it as that either Laurie has completely lost it and she's killed everybody, and she's just, she's seeing Michael in her head. Or by the end of the movie, if she's not dead, then she's in an asylum and she's just like Michael, right? But the great thing about something like that is it's a great place to leave something. It's not a good jumping on point. It's a great place like, oh, that kind of gives me chills. That kind of makes me, oh, that kind of makes me feel. And then you don't have to follow that up, because as you kind of find out, when you try to follow it up, it's not something that works really well. It's like with I love the Friday the 13th franchise. It's probably my favorite out of all these franchises that we're going to be talking about tonight. I've watched it more than any other one, but I would never want to see a Jason Voorhees like universe. At max, what I would be kind of at least a little bit intrigued about, and even like that, I'm kind of meh on, is like Friday 13th at the camp, and then maybe Jason X and Earth 2, if you wanted to do something like that. That's okay. That's not an extended universe. That's two movies and two potential franchises. A cinematic universe really talks about building upon something. So, say for instance, like we got Michael Myers, and you want to build upon that. Maybe if they're going to put in the Cult of Thorn, and that's maybe two felt like you really, really have to get. Uh, it is I think it's a prequel series, because I think the rights for to do like a kind of a Jason modern day Friday the 13th series, or Jason under the hockey mask. I don't think that they can completely do that, or I think it's going to kind of flip back and forth. They said we're going to see like Jason or Pamela early in the camp and stuff, but we will see farther on along as well. Normally, I'd be really worried about that, but I'm not, because it's honestly, because it's A24. It's probably why I'm not. If it was somebody else, I would be. They told me like New Line was putting out Friday the 13th. I'd be petrified because they didn't work the first time. John Carpenter's music in 2018 is more epically. It is great. It is such Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends got such good scores. Like, even if you don't like the films, I do. But even if you don't like the films, just the scores are epic in all three of those films. The ones that I super enjoy. But we're into this weird place right now where, because there's this like, and there always has been sort of this like, the 80s is this kind of like Zen kind of like golden era thought back on time for like horror films, especially the slasher genre. From 81 to 80, 82 really was a real big era of like slashers. And then the iconic slashers came in. So the Jason Voorhees came into it. And in 84, things got switched up again because we got Freddy Krueger. And then that like extended the slasher genre pretty much farther into the 80s. Now, as it went on, it got a little bit lesser, and we kind of saw it kind of dip a bit, and it will come back up in the 90s with Scream, No Deal with Summer, and Legend, all that type of stuff. But the 80s was like kind of the whole like where the whole cultural zeitgeist of the slashers kind of comes from. So we're hitting back into this like space again of like this whole 80s slasher era. It's kind of come full circle. We're going to be getting Halloween. We've gotten like three Halloween films that were started critically acclaimed, and depends on how you feel. But the last couple, um, but they could have stopped right there. They let it rest for a while, which happens a lot usually with Halloween. Is that look from like Halloween 2 until next time actually see a Michael Myers and not on a TV screen, Halloween 3. Um, there's it's a long time. You're looking at like 1981, and then for Halloween 2, and Return of Michael Myers is in 1988. So it's like it's a 7-year span. Then we get part 5 comes out the next year, and then bam, we got a bit of a lull before we get like Curse again, and then of course tragedy happens. There's another lull, and we get like the Rob Zombie ones, and then that seems like okay, that's going to end everything. And there's another lull, and we get the ones that we got now. And unlike the last time, I don't think there's going to be much of a lull. I think they're going to be as long as the SAG after strike goes okay. We're going to be getting a whole it's going to continue, and I'm kind of curious to what they're going to do with it. I'm like I have an idea what's going to happen with Friday 13th. Like that's my head canon. I can figure that out. It makes sense. Nothing I've heard about Halloween like as a franchise right now is making sense to me, and I'm a big fan. Like I got the 2018 like Michael Myers NECA figure. I have actually, although I showed two of them on here. I got four Jason NECA figures actually in total. The collector's so good. I wish they would have done more with that. I mean, like they did the collection as well, but I kind of feel they could have done more. Another one that I think is kind of underrated, and I do want, and I probably should mention some of these because I want to do an underrated slasher list. But Hills Run Red was kind of a with the baby face killer. I thought that was actually a pretty underrated slasher for its time. And, it's fairly low budgeted, but I think that overall it did a great job with it, and it kind of created a little bit of a mythos that I would have liked to see more of. If you're here and you're liking the video, by the way, like, share, subscribe, all that jazzy stuff. You want a super chat or super sticker? Wonderful, fantastic. We love it. You want to donate? You can do that or join Patreon. All that jazzy stuff. If not, just enjoy the channel and the video because that's the most important part. That's what we're here for. This is why we're here. It's right here. So does everybody have this in their collection? Because I'm kind of curious. Like, how hardcore of a fan do you have to be to like grab these sets? Like, did you just stick with the Ultimate Editions or like the Blu-rays that came out? You didn't feel that you needed it. See, for me, like as an 80s like hardcore horror fan, like growing up, these were things that I had to have. And yeah, if you ask me, did I buy the 4Ks when Halloween put out the 4Ks? Like, yeah, I do. I did. So, and what I bought, if they put out like a big like Friday 13th 4K like stuff set, like made the Paramounts and started putting out the. Oh man, not so much the new lines. Well, we'll see. Then yeah, I'd probably get those too. For those that don't, I can actually go over the sets in a couple minutes. It almost happened, zombies. It almost happened. Blame the studio that owns it. That there was companies out there that at one point were working very hard to make that a thing, to make the Nightmare on Elm Street box happen and make it a thing. At this point, the best Nightmare on Elm Street box is the DVD box, not the Blu-ray box set. That's kind of meh. I mean, it's possible. I'm not sure what MTV is like when it comes to their to the physical media, Alan. To be honest with you, because here's the thing: I know they did a bunch of these, at least three, right? Of these, like My Super Sweet 16 or Psycho 16, whatever it's called. Like the slasher, like kind of a like late slasher films came around on MTV. I don't. Did those ever get like physical releases? That's what I'm. Yeah, I was kind of curious. But I would love to see them get anything. I want anything. I want everything to get a physical release, because if we don't, then we really, we don't. We're not sure that how it's going to be around 10 years. Abominable. Heath did a story on Abominable on Serial Midnight website, and how that film, like, and that's a more of like a film was a staple, right, of cable TV. It's saw Matt McCoy and everybody and saw the movie all the time. There were replacement discs for parts 3D, and there was replacement discs for part. What's it? I can't remember now. I have the replacement discs. I would tell you one thing: Scream Factory was really, really good and sent them out really, really quickly. Now, the part 3D one was kind of stupid because the whole reason. Hey, Nubis, welcome, man. How you doing tonight? We're talking slasher horror here. By the way, feel free to, if you want to jump in, you can jump in. I can send you a link. The whole aspect behind it, get this, is that they had to send out a bonus disc. Oh, tell Nico I said hi. Because at the opening of the film, the 3D titles were not as 3D as they could be. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking. Here you go, my friend. I didn't get that Superman Ultimate Collector's Edition because of that. I'm waiting till the discs are changed. That's the thing. So when I know that they're all out there, then I'll go out and I'll put the then I'll grab the super, because you know me, Alan. I'm a massive Superman fan, so I'll eventually get the 4K edition. But I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to wait for a replacement disc. Hey, and ready, welcome, man. Hey, Matty. The gang is coming up here. That is cool. Welcome.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Pretty good. It is nice to have you back on.
Yes, sir. It's been a while.
I actually did not plan to make anything. I actually didn't plan to make any more videos until I got to Canada. But I got thinking
you've been pumping them out lately, man. You've been really killing it.
I have been. I've been doing a whole lot of stuff here. I've had like Malcolm from the UK on a bit. Now, I didn't have him on with us tonight here because it's late, and I figured that would be a very mean thing for me to do. Because he's probably sleeping, actually.
Yeah.
Twins of Evil is so good. But yeah, so I was just talking about the whole idea, like we're kind of the 80s slasher era is kind of coming back, right? So we got the Friday 13th series come from May 24th. And I'm super stoked about that. And it's kind of, but not really a prequel series. It's a prequel series, but goes forward, and it's going to be doing different, like maybe kind of Hannibal type thing, right? And we got Halloween.
Is that the Crystal Lake stuff?
That's Crystal Lake one, yeah.
Yeah.
And so now we got Halloween, and I was very excited. So announcement came out, A24 had Halloween. I almost danced in the house. I'm like, yes, Ty West can do Halloween. That'll be fantastic. He did X, and this will be great. And then I was like, oh no, that's sorry, that's not true. Miramax, and I had to think for a minute, like because I'm like, wait, don't Miramax already own the rights to Halloween? That's kind of weird because they co-produced the Blumhouse stuff, and they're like, oh no, they bought the TV rights to Halloween, so that now they can do a cinematic universe.
Hmm.
And I'm like, how? Like, it's a slasher movie.
Right.
Like, and even if you put in part three, like, that's still not a cinematic universe. Like, you can do Marvel or DC because you got a whole ton of comics and stuff like that, and characters and stories, epic stories you've done over throughout the years.
Right.
Um, for me, like, I wanted your thoughts on it, actually, because for me, it's like, what are you gonna do? You don't have that many real characters that can actually shoot off into like a series, and the only reason you have so many timelines is because you mess up so many times and just start it over.
Right. Yeah, because they like will reboot something, but then they'll start anew. They won't even use the same platform or plot from the other films. They just create their own, and that creates another whole timeline.
And it's kind of weird because that means, like, if they're gonna do a cinematic universe, then it like edges onto like, are they gonna try and explain Michael again? Because that's never been something that's worked out totally well.
Did you like Zombies first Halloween? Like I liked his backstory. A lot of people hate it, but I liked it.
When I first saw it, I freaking hated it, like, with a passion. So this year, I went in and I rewatched all of them for timeline videos,
Hmm.
and I said, "You know what? I can't go in and look at this Rob Zombie one and compare it to my nostalgic thoughts on
Right,
'78, because if I do
right,
that, that's not fair."
right.
So I went in, I took it as its own beast,
Hmm.
and the more that I did, I enjoyed it a lot more this time.
Right,
Uh, but here's the thing: I still didn't like the a lot of the explaining Michael thing. Uh, it was a bit. What you know what I didn't like in the Rob Zombie ones? Anytime that it did anything that was like the original stuff. Uh, and I think that's why I ended up liking part two more than I did before.
hmm,
Because I'm like, okay, he's just doing his own thing.
right,
So with Loomis, I'm like, okay, Loomis is a bit more of a dick. uh,
right,
no, I did love the sequences with Loomis and Michael in the asylum. I thought that worked really, really well.
right.
Uh, I do think that you should watch the theatrical cut and not the director's cut because, yeah, man, when you know, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a much better like escape sequence anyway in the theatrical cut.
So they want to try and make like a universe of this series, and not just all horror, or just the Halloween stuff.
Just the Halloween.
I don't know how.
So
Yeah, I don't know how you would even do that. That's
it's weird. I mean, it is such a strange
well. Let me
concept.
ask you this, because I didn't get to see Halloween Ends. I could watch it. I really hate those last three films, so I didn't bother. But you liked the last one, right?
I did.
So, and from what I understand from watching your review and everything, it's vastly different. It actually opened it up more, just beyond Michael. So, do you think they're kind of basing their idea off the timeline with that film?
I mean, they can't use the Corey character because Blumhouse owns that. But could they do something like that? Like Sean mentioned earlier in this video, that he said that, like, what about if evil kind of passes on? Because Halloween ends kind of like in a way,
Hmm.
kind of talks about that. And but the thing is, anytime that like Attack of Evil passing on, whether it be Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 or Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers, or Halloween Ends, it always comes across like when you're watching it as an ending point rather than a starting point.
Right.
Like, I think it works great as an ending point. It's like when you watch Scream 4, right?
No, I've seen. Well, it's been a long while. I think I did see that one a while ago. It's
Yeah,
been a
like
while though.
that's ways back. But
Yeah, yeah.
so like there's this at the end of Scream 4, there's a sequence where there's the killer is dead and we're like hearing stuff on the radio, like kind of praising the killer because the killer was made herself look like a hero.
Mhm.
And it's like it's chilling and it's great because she's dead and and they're praising her on the news and like, oh, this hits as an influencer, it's like a YouTuber, this hits
Mhm.
me, because that's what she is. She was trying to be that, um trying to be famous, but if she would have got up and just dusted herself off, it wouldn't, it would be like then you'd grown.
Yeah.
um But, maybe there's something that I'm not, like, confident. I'm thinking Sony. I think Sony. And, like, I'm not talking about the animated stuff. I'm
Right.
talking about,
Right.
like, Morbius and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff that makes you, kinda like it's painful to watch. I'm a massive Morbius fan. I got the omnibus over there, like the Marvel omnibus. Nobody was sadder watching. I was in a drive-in movie theater.
How's it the theater? I saw it in theater. Yeah. I didn't it's funny because I came out of it, like, liking it more than I thought. Like, I really went in thinking I was gonna hate the hell out of it. I mean, I hated the overuse of CGI, obviously, but, like, in order to get him to do the things that he was supposed to do as, like, a vampiric thing, is like, there's only way you can do it, really. They're not gonna use practical effects for that. But, like, I guess I was kinda basing Leto's acting as opposed to his Joker in Suicide Squad, which was horrendous. So, like, it was kind of a step up at that point for me, but, yeah, I mean, it's not something I've gone back
So you
to
went in
watch.
with, like, a lot lower expectations than I did. Maybe that's probably
Yeah, yeah, I went in I was really desperate for a movie, and I guess that just kinda won the battle, at that time, but,
See, for me, I don't think it helped that that night I watched another movie right afterwards. It was way better
yeah.
because the double feature driving. Where would you like to see Halloween go? Like, y- person.
Ooh. It's funny because everything's been done so much, and I know a lot of people like the last 3 a lot, and, we all have our favorites. I'm really a big fan of the first 3, but, the interesting thing is, uh I think with Halloween 3, because originally wasn't Carpenter trying to do just like different things outside of Michael Myers? Wasn't that his original plan?
Well, he didn't want to do Halloween 2. So if he said he'd do 2 if they let him make Fog, and they wanted to do another one. So he said, I won't make another Michael Myers film. We did that. It's all done.
Yeah.
So him and Deborah Hill came back and said, okay, let us do a different movie every year, an anthology film.
Yeah.
Which would be great if they had said, if Miramax had came out and said, we're going to do Halloween as an anthology series of films. That would make sense to me. I'll be like, I'm down for that. That sounds like a really good idea. But a cinematic universe means interconnectivity,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm not down for that.
Well, the only way you could do it is to actually have Michael be the centerpiece. So he would have to connect them in some way somewhere. And I don't know if you can do that successfully.
Yeah, either that or you make the mask the centerpiece and make the mask like haunted or something like that, and I don't think people are going to take that. Like, look at what happened back in the day with Friday 13th Part 5, right? They tried to move on from Jason, and as soon as they did, like, oh no, look, Roy's the killer, and that's going to be, oh my, hope I didn't give away that 1980s film.
Whoops.
Yeah, and and it looks like Tommy
Well,
might
it's
be the killer in the next
1980. If you haven't seen it by now, it's your own fault.
one.
That's all I say.
And people like went away from it in droves. I love Part 5. I do. It's sleazy and fun, and weird and cheesy and stuff. But most people didn't, and because of it, like every Friday 13th film after it was diminishing returns. And Part 6, which is objectively better than some of the parts before, like it's just well made. Like Tom McLaughlin's a good director. It's well done. I'm not big on the zombie aspect of like Jason, but even I got to say it's just a really, really well done film. But because 5 did so bad, it affected the box office receipts for Part 6. So 6 didn't do
Mhm.
as good, and then 7 didn't do as good, then 8 didn't do as good, and then Paramount got rid of it. Um, I remember actually used to be owned by Disney, but now it's more of a Paramount thing. Actually, they're on. I know because I went for a a Disney writing internship once.
That's good. Miramax used to be pretty good back in the day.
Well, it was like Disney, and then it was the Weinsteins.
Yep.
Yeah. Less
We
said
don't,
about them,
we
the
don't want to talk about all that.
better. And then it's Paramount. So more than likely, if it does a TV series, they're looking at a Paramount Plus series, which not gonna lie, probably one of the least of the streaming services for me.
Yeah, I'm at a dilemma because the Monarch Godzilla series is going to be on Apple Plus, so I have to figure out if I'm just going to subscribe for that time being where it's on and then unsubscribe, or how I'm going to do that. Like I can't understand. Like you get rid of cable, start going with streaming because it's a lot cheaper. Then all of a sudden you're buying all these different apps and subscriptions, and it's like almost adding up the same way. So it's pretty retarded at this stage,
That's the thing, like TJ. That's the whole key about it is like you're like, oh man, like this whole like, oh, you can cut the cord, right? And
Mhm.
you get your Netflix, and that's great when there's Netflix.
Yep.
But when there's Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Shutter, Criterion, Apple TV, Paramount Plus, and a whole list of others, BritBox, a whole ton of other stuff, then you're paying more because what you're doing is
Yep.
you're literally doing what you did with cable TV, where you'd go get your cable or your satellite TV and you'd start picking your packages. And you look at the packages. Okay, does this have what I want? And everything can't make it. I do think that one of the ones that might make it, because I think they've gone slow, might be Apple, because I think they're sneaking up.
Yeah, a lot of people think that the Godzilla series might help them out a lot doing that.
And Severance, like was also, but haven't if you get Apple and you haven't seen Severance, actually, I recommend that one as well. What other stories can be spun out of Halloween? Another slasher, Cult of Copycats. They could. I mean, that's, but I don't really see that. Again, I don't see that as an extended universe. Like an cinematic universe really puts. I think hope maybe they spoke wrong. Maybe cinematic universe was kind of the wrong word to say.
Yeah, because I mean, I kind of liked the series when it was out, but do you remember the Friday the 13th series that came out way back when?
You mean oh god, yeah. Oh well,
Yeah,
Frank.
so when I remember first starting to watch that, I was assuming that it was going to be related to Jason. It was not even near it. And so, like, I struggled early on with it, but then sooner or later, I kind of got on to what they were trying to do. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Cursed objects, yada, yada, yada. So I see Maddie's point there, but like, you're trying to attach the Halloween name to it. People are going to go in thinking they're going to see Michael Myers somewhere in this, and it's just not going to happen. So I don't know if that's going to work.
Well, even the TV series like Friday 13th, that was only called Friday 13th in some places. Like
Yeah.
most places, that was called Friday's Curse.
Yeah.
They kind of took that away from it. But that was what a great show. Like,
And yeah, Alan, I'm going to watch Godzilla -1 just to answer your question. I'm going to do that. Yes.
anything Godzilla.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could I see a cult of copycats? I mean, that Scream almost did that, Maddie,
Mm-hmm.
actually.
Yeah.
So,
Each
but
movie kind of just build up to that.
yeah, and we thought we were going to get it. Didn't happen because unfortunately there was like, a school issue at that time. And so they took that idea for Scream and they made it into a TV series called The Following. Which, if you ever watch that, then that's what Scream 3 was originally supposed to be.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple episodes that didn't seem too bad.
It's pretty cool. I mean, like the first season, especially, I really liked it because you don't know who's going to be like, you don't know who's going to be a cult member.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the serial killer, he's escaped from prison, and just randomly seeing these people. And sometimes it's like real shockers. But by the time the second season came out, it was kind of pushing it a bit. There's a new
Right.
cult, and there's a new cult leader, and there's like different, like, oh look, now it's twins and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Got to try
there's
to top themselves each season.
yeah, it was different. I would have liked to have seen more of it though. So what have you been watching for Halloween, by the way? What's your have you been doing?
So I obviously checked out The Exorcist. I know you talked with Jose Prendez and Doug Bradley. I know Samurai just did the other night. I interviewed Jose not too long ago.
I
I
watched it.
really
It's
loved
nice.
that film. I thought it was a lot of fun. That film was a lot of fun there for me. Um, I checked out. I'd seen it before a long time ago, and I just was watching something randomly. Season of the Witch, 1972.
Oh,
I watched
yeah.
that today. Nick and I actually just got done doing a couple of trailer reactions for a Spanish film called Venus,
I've
and
seen that.
then one coming out this year called "There's Something in the Barn" about like a elf in Norway or something, but it looks kind of funny. But outside that, I know that Mr. Lambert and I from the Entertainment Headquarters we're going to be doing a review of 2006 Orang. It's like an Asian horror film. I don't know if you've seen that.
I think so. I'd have to look.
Yeah, sometimes they all seem like the same, but you and I, we probably the only people on the planet where we've seen so many horror films that we just confuse which plot goes
Yeah,
where, you know?
everyone goes into like, and that happens to me a lot lately. I
Mhm.
think I'm getting over this whole thing. Um, but I just there's so much to watch. I'm excited about like I'm excited about Maxine when that comes out because I was a massive X. Did you like X and Pearl?
I loved X. I did check out Pearl the other day. Pearl's okay. I kind of expect to be blown away more in that. I just Mia Goth's amazing, so there's no doubt there. That ending was very good. But I liked X more for some reason. I don't know. I just enjoyed X a lot more than Pearl. But
X is great. I mean, X is like does the whole slasher thing, but it doesn't do it in the way that you normally see it, right?
right.
So, because there's tropes. So
Mhm.
there's characters, the jock, and there's a slutty girl, and all this type of stuff. And there's a virginal person, but it's not in X. Everyone is actually decent human being in X, except for the killers, right? Overall,
Right.
everyone's pretty much a decent person. Um, like they have some, there's flaws and stuff like that. Especially, the girl decides, oh, I want to be in the movie all of a sudden, and the boyfriend can't handle it. And there's all these aspects, but it's layered. The characters are layered,
Mhm.
um, which I
He,
absolutely loved about it.
he's gonna have a third one, right? There's gonna be a trilogy.
Maxine, it's actually filmed.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So the first one was a slasher. Second one was a psychological thriller drama, whatever you want to call it. It's got the guy that's going to be playing Superman starring in it.
Right.
Uh, and the third one, Maxine, is a murder mystery. Set kind of a grindhouse style murder mystery. So,
Oh,
set in
nice.
the 80s. So you can expect it to be, probably a bit go back to a bit more the grungy, sleazy grittiness of like X. Um, and if they succeed, this will be one of the first like true, really successful like slasher kind of trilogies in a very long time.
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to think of one that like I think of Scream, but then I remember who the killer in Scream was. I'm like, oh, no, part three was. I'm like, no, no, that wasn't totally successful. So this will be a massive deal for the
Yeah.
horror community.
What about you? Seen anything recently that you really liked? All that you just spend time with that right there.
Well, I did the horror timelines for Halloween with my dad and with Malcolm, and then we did Friday the 13th. So we finished the horror timelines. I said, why don't we review the Friday the 13th series? Because I was coming up, I was getting up on to go to Canada for a couple months, and so I'm trying to to get stuff done for this month. So we started to like watch them and kind of like film them. And I said, well, let's do a couple extras. People know now. So we did the Bloody Murder duology as well, and that is those are two films with people in them. So yeah, those are films with people in them. What I
Yeah.
would like to do, what I would like to do sometime is I would like to look into where I'm a physical media guy, but I still think that like I like some streaming stuff, and it has its place. You got to move the times, right?
Right.
Um, I'll never get rid of my physical media, but doesn't mean I'm not going to watch stuff that's exclusively streaming. So Tubi, Tubi's been kind of interesting, and some unique stuff that they've done. So I've thought about like maybe doing some like Tubi horror reviews and kind of having some fun with some of that stuff because there's some interesting stuff out there.
Yeah, I actually did a review of a movie called Porno that's on there right now, and it's actually pretty good. I really enjoyed that film a lot. It's not exactly what you think it's going to be, but you know,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
uh, yeah. So it's really good, really good. Highly recommended.
That's like, how do you explain that to, like, to your better half? Like, "Hey, hun, I wanna watch." It's porno. It's
This movie porno. No, I'm not
yeah.
watching porno, Aaron. Sorry.
Nico's, like, looking at you like, "Huh?" Like,
Right.
"It's not what you think, darling." But I don't know. I mean, like, there's some interesting stuff out there.
Mhm.
Metal Tavern Radio, you guys still do,
Yep.
which is fantastic. Guys, if you're not checking it out, please, please, please do so, because they do great stuff. I was on. I was lucky enough to be on an episode. I got quizzed, and
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And he
I was
failed miserably. No, just kidding.
oh, put in the hot seat. Put in the hot seat. That's it. Once you put me in the hot seat, I'm like, oh no.
That was a lot of fun.
It was definitely a lot of fun. I wanted to make other videos actually. I wanted to get you on for like a werewolf video,
Mm,
because I know you're like a werewolf fan,
yep.
and there is so much out there. I was actually looking. I'm doing these top 10 lists now, and I'm doing them for the month of October. And I did one and done slasher, and that one kind of took off. I was like, wow, okay. Um, so I wanted to do a werewolf one, and then I realized I say, well, let's see how many werewolf films I got in my collection. I don't have 10. And
Yeah, it's funny thing is, even though I may have added a couple to my list, I'm still under 10. Like I'm very, me, I'm very
yeah,
picky about my werewolves. So, uh, right now, like I can't give you 10. I could probably give you 8 tops. Like, as far as like my top 8 werewolf films.
like I could
Uh,
probably push into, like, if I really had to. I'm like, okay, here's American Werewolf in Paris. Like,
well, right, right, right. Yeah, if you really getting desperate there, you can do that. But
but no, there's a few, and I was looked through, and I looked into my Sam Katzman set. I had the werewolf, the science fiction one, which was kind of cool. Um, yours is obviously the Howling, right? That's the greatest werewolf, and not
yep.
American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, well, they're 1 and 2, but for some people it's reverse. Like they'll go
Yeah,
with American, and I like I said, I like the fact that the Howling is just far more. There's a lot more dread in it than comedy. So like American Wolf, you got this comedic relief throughout the film from the horror, which is very good. The transformations are amazing, but the Howling is just like straightforward, like scary to death. That's what it
we
wants to be.
lost that, like when we did the whole, like, Howling versus. Right?
Yep.
We
Yeah.
were the Howling people.
Yeah. You and I, we knew best.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, here's the thing too. American Werewolf in London significantly drops to, like, with American Werewolf in Paris, right? At least there's some good Howling sequels. like, like you can find some, even with part two. Part two, like Civil Downing. There you go. Bam.
Two
Christopher Lee
has
wearing,
it.
like,
Well, I do like Howling 5, just because of the aesthetic of the castle and the winter and everything else. So that's still kind of cool. Everything else I've seen is not very good. But Sybil Danning saves too, just on that very edge, for various reasons. Couple of big reasons,
I mean, like, I'm glad you said that because part five is my favorite sequel. And it comes down to the it's kind of comical because they lost the costume in part five. So all he had was this, like, an arm.
Mhm.
So that's the reason you never see Werewolf in part five. So you never actually do see the Werewolf. And it becomes a mystery. So for me, part five is kind of like The Beast Must Die.
Yep.
That old,
Yep.
old Amicus one, where
That's
basically,
actually a great comparison. I saw The Beast Must Die probably about a couple of years ago for the first time, and I was actually really impressed because it's like an older film. So, and you don't even see a werewolf. It's just kind of like it's just really good mystery, as you said. Like it's really, really well put together.
and it's like, as a kid, for me, the Werewolf Minute was like so cool.
Mm,
it's,
mhm.
it's like you're there. It's like, and now before we reveal the answer, the Werewolf Minute, and you're waiting. And I won't say who it is just because people haven't seen it, but they cheat with after the Werewolf Minute. They cheat, uh, and I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
This is uh, you didn't say you could do this, but yeah. But no, I actually I dug that one. Obviously, he sent me Dog Soldiers when Scream Factory one was put out, which I was much appreciative of because I actually adore that one.
I was so shocked you couldn't get it. I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I had to literally buy it and send it to you. I was like, "There's just I can't believe you can't get it."
That was the killer thing, and now it's even worse. Morocco can't get anything.
Really? You can't get much stuff over there?
No, there's no physical media in Morocco
Wow.
at all. At least not in Marrakesh. I don't think I think they've gone pretty. See, here they've gone pretty much really gone into the streaming aspect of it.
Right.
So there's no places to really buy physical media. I think I found in a Virgin Mobile superstore. Yeah, this little bin of like older DVDs and some Blu-rays that they had for a little bit, and it was just like stuff that was backstock. They were just getting rid of.
Mhm.
So in Morocco, there used to be a huge culture of like piracy. Yeah. So you go to like the Medina, go looking through and see like people with like these burned things, which is great for some people, but I only speak English. So and French is like a big like language here, right? So it's and usually if it's a burn, it's not like it's fancily done where you're going to have like, oh, let me just change the language or let me put on the subtitles.
Mhm.
It's just French because they're probably burning it right from like a computer somewhere or something like that. I never know the quality. Um, so I would say that for me right now, where I'm going back to Canada on the second, hopefully, um, I'll be on, going into that like on the second. I get in at 8 p.m. Usually, so whatever, maybe 9 or 10 p.m. because we know planes, right? Uh, so the next day, though, will I be going to directly to the video store? Yes, yes, I will. That's one of my first things that I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab a grab a Starbucks. It's October now, so I'm guessing pumpkin spice lattes are back, and I'm about as basic bitch coffee as you can get. So that's what I'm gonna get, and then I'm gonna go downstairs, go to Sunrise Records, and just start looking at movies and like
And try to control yourself.
I'll try to control myself. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's the killer part, and hopefully, for the first time since January, I'll actually be able to do unboxings on my channel.
Nice.
So it's been that long. From January to October. That's how many months it's been since I've actually been able to like unbox anything on the channel.
Wow. Hmm. That's crazy.
It is, and it's changed the way that I think about it.
Mhm.
But luckily, I've never been one of those. Hey, look at my movies. Look what I got today. Channels. Like I watch a lot of those. I watch a lot of like people go and like do their like out and abouts and they buy stuff or they just get stuff come or whatever. But that's I just geek about movies. And that's kind of been my thing when it comes to a lot of the stuff. It's
That's
just like
why we
geeky.
love you so much.
Oh. So
Whenever someone tells me, they're like, "Man, Nubis, man, you know a lot about this stuff." I'm like, "No, you go see Aaron Penn, then you come back and talk to me. He's gonna blow your mind with the shit that he knows. He can just pull it out of his ass. Like he
it's
remembers stuff that I've forgotten long ago, and it's
I
amazing."
actually think it's a curse, man. Sometimes, like I will be out somewhere, and I'll just like get something in my head, like, oh, this from this movie. Hind, thank God for Hind, who gets it, and she's like, oh yeah, I understand it, or oh yes, Aaron's in that zone. But anybody else would be like, nope, just
You know, I remember, did you ever? Because you used to do those bracket rankings, right?
yeah.
Did did you do one for like actresses,
Like you mean like the like
old
scream
school?
queens or actresses in general, or
Might have been Screen Queens. I thought you had done something along that lines, and I think I missed it, but I was kind
I
of curious. I need to find it and go back and
did a
see
few.
how
Let me
that
just do
turned out.
I did have like done the whole tier maker thing. Let's see if I got it here.
Because I know I like, actors like Carolyn Monroe and
Oh, I don't think he did. I would love to have done her actually.
yeah.
That
Well, I was
sounds
gonna
right.
say, man, that's
Yeah, that
something
sounds
that I
right.
would so do with you. Like, just go and make a list and then go through and rank them, because you love doing that stuff. That kind of got me into it. You were doing all the slasher movies for a while and the horror stuff.
Oh, absolutely adored doing the ranking list. It was one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it was great.
And then it was like I was doing a lot of them, and I think I was doing to the point where some people are like, you've done a lot now. You can give it up for a while." So I ended up giving up for a bit,
Yeah.
and
Well, you can, occasionally get burned out by stuff, so that makes sense. Yeah.
oh, hey, Twisted Cinema, welcome.
See you later, Maddie.
Maddie's gonna. We're doing a. I'm doing a. Me and Malcolm are doing versus a draft that Maddie is actually doing up.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna probably be in. I'll be in Canada when that gets filmed. Oh, you should check out his stuff. You should definitely check out Twist Cinemas. Check out DJ stuff. You do stuff on your own. Do stuff with your spouse. Do stuff with a bunch of people.
And yeah, I kind of mix it up. I mean, we mainly like music stuff, but we do a lot of like other entertainment, trailer reactions, movie reviews. We just did like a beer tasting earlier tonight. Have to upload it yet, but we just do random stuff for entertainment purposes. So
that's
man of many talents, they say.
You got your music skills, man. Like, you know your music
skills. That I do. That's one area I do know.
That's where I like.
That's my curse.
Yeah. For me, if you're asking me about music stuff, it's usually musicals. Like, that's the thing. I was at a party, and so they're talking about what is the film? Not the film, actually. They're talking about like they've gone to a musical recently, and oh my god, the Liza Minnelli one, Cabaret. So they got into like a live performance cabaret, and it was done in at this bar, and there was like 3 levels to the bar, and it starts out with kind of the sleazier aspect of the bar, and there's a kind of slightly higher ranking one, and it goes up to like 3 different. And when you're watching them, like you're watching the musical, it's a live musical. Then what they're doing is like they're never at a character, so everybody around is like that's involved are always a character,
right?
And so like they're talking about that and like the classy stuff, and I'm like, and I love Next to Normal, and they're like, what the hell is that? It's an off-Broadway musical.
That's something that NECA would enjoy, though. She used to do tap dancing a lot. She loves like jazz and stuff like that. Fosse is one of her idols.
It's showtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's showtime.
Yeah, I could see that actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's their energy. I knew this girl in college. Was a friend of mine. She had the same type of energy that Neko has. And I wouldn't see her a lot, but I would see her around. And she was one of these girls that like would put a smile on your face when you saw her.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'd be like down or hungover, it was college, so mostly hungover. She would come up and she would like tap dance randomly.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And she was like, it's that time again, and she'd just tap dance. And would always put like a smile on my face. So she was like this super cool. I do not have the skills to tap dance.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
I can do.
Me either.
I am so white when it comes to dancing. That is some people say, what does that mean? Well, it means I dance really stiff. That's what it means.
Yeah, she wants me to dance with her all the time. I'm like, I'm not good, man. Maybe a slow dance, and even then, I'm probably stepping on your toes.
Well, here's the thing. Anytime that you think, I can't get on the dance floor, like one, you should get on the dance floor 3 anyway, man. It's just fun. It'll like look at Seinfeld and look at like Elaine doing that dance. And you're like, I'm never gonna be that bad. Never gonna be that bad. And I met a girl when I was in college, that was that bad, that danced like that. Before Seinfeld came out.
And she didn't care, right? She just got out there and did it anyway.
I cared. I was dancing with her. Like, like I was like, we're not that great, like friends or anything. So I'm at to the club, and I'm doing some shots and stuff like that. And there's this girl there, and one of my friends like, oh, you should dance with her. She's not dancing. She's quiet. She's not sitting down. She's sitting down. She's not doing much. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So like they push me out there, dance with this girl, and it was a slow dance first. So I'm okay with that. I'm clunky, but I'm okay. I can do a slow dance. And and I've been like, drinking a bit. Uh, so obviously the shots and stuff. So I thought at that time, okay, I can dance, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I was doing very much better than her actually, but I wasn't doing that. So we start to dance, and she starts to like jerk her her arms a bit, and her legs kind of, and I'm not sure if she's trying to do what we call it in Newfoundland is kind of a jig type of thing, but to rock music with flailing arms, like
So
a
she was
wacky.
basically doing a poor version of Wednesday Adams. Is that what was happening?
Oh no, not even that good. I mean, like a wacky inflatable tube man, like got the wacky inflatable tube man type thing. And I'm just so because I'm in college, and I'm still at the point where I care what people think. Something that, by the way, didn't last very long for me. Um, I'm dancing, and I'm like, how do I follow this? Because usually most people that I dance with, like they're better than me. Like
Mhm.
99.9% of the time, they're better than me. So I'll be like, oh, I'll just follow along. I'll just do the best that I can. I'll shuffle a bit, move my head, move my hips, that type of thing. But this girl, I'm like, how do you follow that? Like, because it's a dance, right? And the whole idea behind a dance is you kind of follow, lead. You like,
Are you sure you weren't like being trolled by a chick who had just watched Can't Buy Me Love? You know, you remember that
no,
scene?
no. This is the 80s. This is pre-camp. Oh, no, it's not
Yeah.
86. No, I mean, like, no, she dances like this all the time because we'd go to the club after that. And after that, my friends were always, oh, you should dance.
They already know what's gonna happen, so they're like, "Yeah, go ahead and dance, man. Do it for us."
But then I didn't care. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
shag it, why not?
right.
And she became a good friend of mine actually. I think she last time I saw her, she married a post office like guy. Not sure where that came from, but like it's I think that was like I think I hadn't seen her for a couple years, then I saw her again. She was, with her hubby and that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, that's a weird story. But
Yeah,
there
pretty
you go.
good.
You never know what's gonna happen on this channel, man.
Right.
Like
Great stories are had.
all because like of Nico's fantastic dancing and my lack of it.
So what else is on the horizon for horror? Anything
For
good?
me,
Yeah.
I feel like you're hosting the channel. I feel like you're doing a better job of hosting now, and I'm just kind of like you're doing like
Maybe
the
it's just 'cause I had a couple beers in me. Maybe that's what it
you're just good at this, man. um,
Well, if I had put an echo on, she would just be taken over. You'd be done. Like you just sit there and listen while she yaps.
that which is at this time of night, I'm at like 2:40 in the morning, so I'm pretty bad.
Wow. Yeah, you're like what, 4 or 5 hours ahead of me?
Yeah, I won't be
Yeah.
soon. Actually, in Canada, it'll be pretty much like kind of even. For me, I'd say well after the in between the Friday 13th stuff, which is going to be coming out, I've got a horror draft that's coming up. I have some more like top 10 videos, so keep an eye out for those. Those have by far been the most popular videos that I've done this month. And there's horror kind of like game show challenges things that I have in my Patreon, which have been a lot of fun to do, but a lot of work. I'm putting those together, and I want to do. I'm saying if get the can, everything goes okay. Then there's going to be some. Then I'm going to be doing an unbound and unboxing. I have the I have a whole bunch of stuff from Mill Creek that's in Canada. I have stuff from the In Search of Darkness, and some I got some omnibus and books too, so for the color comics portion of it. And that's not even including like going to Spirit Halloween, checking stuff like that, going
Right.
into the different comic shops, into the movie places, checking out the charity shops. So hopefully not passing out in between all of this and drinking lots of coffee. That's that's my plan. So what about you?
If you want to end up doing that werewolf thing, I'll do it with you. Just find a time and a day to do it.
Oh, that'd be fun, actually. We definitely can do that.
Yeah.
What we should do though, we should like make sure like not we'll do it in a way that almost like a draft, but not really. But like where if I pick something, you don't pick it, then you have an alternate.
And watch you take the Howling, and I'm stuck with everything else.
Yeah,
that
Howling
follows.
number 10, right? I'll pick Howling for number 10, right?
That's
Like,
actually not a bad idea, though, really, in the ultimate way of doing it, because that will really make you think. You know what I mean?
that's the thing when it comes to like the top 10 lists. Usually, you'll find like when you do them, there's a bunch of crossover.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh shoot, somebody said that, and it is kind of like the draft thing, but not going totally into the aspect of like the draft and vetoes and all that type of thing, which Screen Draft, the podcast, does really really well. I know because I listen to podcasts like crazy. Just to this because they're VHS cobwebs,
Yeah.
Daniel stuff, just great stuff. But what's coming up in your channel, by the way?
Just like I said, I'm going to be actually interviewing Thrash Pondo on November 3rd. I'm going to sit down with him, with Neko, and interview him, get to know the guy. Got the review for Orang I was talking about earlier. Next Friday, we're going to be on Sci-Fi Century's channel reviewing Rise of the Lycans Underworld. So that's another one of my favorites, but not totally werewolf, a little bit werewolf vampire stuff going on there. But outside of that, I haven't really planned a whole lot, so I'm wide open.
I gotta ask you a question.
Sure.
Since you're like a big werewolf fan, and this is not a werewolf movie though, but do you like wolfing?
Yes. In fact, I oftentimes will try to add it into my werewolf because even though it's not your traditional werewolf movie, it does deal with wolves, and it's kind of based off the mythology of lycanthropes and stuff like that. So
It's such a good movie. I mean, I remember seeing it like when I was younger, and it was kind of one of those that kind of blew me away. It was just
it was terrifying as a kid, man, when I watched that.
it is. It's one of those films that kind of people kind of forget about.
But it's also one of those movies that, like, you'll occasionally come across a movie where you go through the entire film like just kind of being terrified and scared, but then by the end of it, you're like feeling what the wolves are feeling. So you're actually kind of happy that the wolves succeeded in what they were doing. So it changed the tone of the film by the end of it. Like you weren't really afraid of the wolves anymore because you know there was a purpose for what they were doing.
It's like the bees with like
yeah.
They're like, okay, the bees they're killing John Carradine. Wait, no, they're coming for an ecological conference.
Right.
Not quite the same quality, right? Oh, yes. Rest in peace, Pepper Laurie. I actually heard that today.
Oh, that's too bad.
I'm actually
91, man. That's a great life, though. Wow.
I had such a crush on Pepper Laurie. I so did. And it kind of stuck because here's the thing. I'm a massive Twin Peaks fan. And I just recently rewatched the whole series. So because I'm doing a video with my brother-in-law. And he hasn't watched it before. Hey there, X. The killer part of it all is so he's going to be going in like not knowing until the episode like who the killer was because he doesn't know Laura Palmer. And I was talking to him and he's watching, he's going through him. Like he said, so do you know, are you up to it? He says, I'm almost there. I'm almost at the episode. So do you think you know Laura Palmer? And he's telling me these names. And I know it's not that person. And the same people that I thought it was back in the day. So it is so cool to see it from like somebody else's eyes, like somebody a lot younger than me, didn't grow up at that time, and didn't see it afterwards. And of course, Piper Laurie's in that, and to kind of like even put a little bit farther. So Mad Dynamic, who I had was
Oh
one of my
yeah,
biggest.
Sleepwalkers.
Yeah, exactly. So she was in like she was the she was Shelley in in Twin Peaks, and then she would go on to be Alice Cooper in Riverdale, which I absolutely adore. I don't care what people say. I love Riverdale.
Isn't
And
that show where they take like different comic characters that they make it more horror-esque or something?
well, it's the Archie characters, like, but
Yeah,
it's more like kind of like they do, yeah, like horror aspects and serial killers and stuff.
supernatural and stuff like that. Yeah.
But yeah, and I never really thought about it to just now, actually. But here's the thing. Um, there's an episode in the second season where they do the musical Carrie,
Oh wow.
because Carrie's musical, and she plays Piper Laurie's character, the mom,
Nice.
and she acted with Piper Laurie in Twin Peaks, like 6 degrees of separation type of thing.
Yeah.
And literally just now, I just like it kind of came to me.
Dawned on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just because I was thinking of Carolyn Monroe. I was watching $5 for an August Moon the other day, and so Edwidge Fenwick and Edith Maloney, man. I mean, those are some nice looking ladies there.
Oh man, it is crazy to think that Mary Bava didn't want Edwidge Fenwick in the film.
Oh, really?
Oh no, he was like, no, like she's not right. She said, I want this girl. I don't think she's any good. And she's literally one of the best parts of that movie.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. She's got the spicy moments.
Yeah. And she would, become like one of Jello. Like we got our Scream Queens in North America, but she's one of like the Jello girls, like the top the Jello queens.
Yep.
You get your Edwidge Fenwick, your Barbara Box, your Evelyn Stewart's,
Barbara
the
Steele.
Barbara Steele, and Susie Kendall, right?
Yep. Yep.
Just some of the greats.
Yeah.
I've been trying to rewatch some of that stuff recently, some of the Giallo-esque stuff when I can, and it's just trying to find right now. It's trying to find the right time
Right.
because, as you've seen by my content, I'm either watching something that I got to watch for the channel, or I'm editing or writing something,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm outside feeding cats.
Ah,
That's
another favorite pastime.
pretty
Kitty
much. Well, my
cats.
cats. I love my cats. And the thing is, we got a lot of cats here in the house, and but there's a whole bunch of like cats outside, and you can't take every cat in. Unfortunately, sadly, I wish I could. So we do is we buy like the big bags of like food, right? And every night I go outside and I go and I feed the cats outside. Nobody ever matches Femi Benusi. I don't. I will have to look that. I'm gonna look that up.
Me too. He's naming a name I'm just not that familiar with. Let's see. We're all like
Oh, she's
stuck.
gorgeous.
Yeah, she is beautiful.
I do not know why not, man. Oh, she's from
Bloody-
Stripping It for Your Killer. I love that Andre Bianchi film, man.
Bloody Pitted Horror. Is she like a Spanish actress? It looks like.
Good call to it. I think she's Italian. She looks Italian.
Yeah.
So, if you have not seen Strip Nude for Your Killer, by the way, guys, and if you have not seen it, DJ,
I think I've seen it actually. I'm pretty
it's
sure.
so good. Andre Bianchi, that did Burial Ground, which again, I don't know when I'm watching an Andre Bianchi film if he's a genius or he's insane, because the movies are like, part of me thinks like this is pretty inept, and then I'll see something I'm like, this is also pretty freaking amazing. So,
Yeah, I turned on Shudder earlier, and Argento's opera was playing. I had not watched it in a while, and I'm like, dude, this guy, his vision is just nuts. Like the stuff that he does.
and I think like some of his later stuff is kind of underrated. I just recently rewatched Sleepless, and I remember like the first time I saw Sleepless, I was kind of iffy on it, right? And I'm like, it's okay. And I'm like, this is actually a lot way better than I remember. Like some of the acting sucked big time. But like in all honesty, if you go back to some of the early like Argento films, some of the acting sucked big time anyway.
Right.
Um, but but you got Max von Sydow, and he's playing a guy that is dealing with Alzheimer's. Like he's a cop, and he's starting to lose his memory and stuff like that. And I lost my nan a couple years ago too. So it hit differently than it did the first time I watched it. So because I had experience with it a bit more, and that was kind of like it hit me harder. But I remember like enjoying it more. Like there were certain things I could see where like, okay, it starts out really good, and there's this amazing subway scene. You saw Sleepless, right?
It doesn't sound familiar, but I might have seen it.
Like so there's this really good subway sequence on it, like where this so there's at the beginning of the film, the first thing you see on the screen is a naked lady, a complete naked woman, and it turns out that she's a lady of the evening. What's up? And whatever has been said to her by her client, who we don't see, who's off screen, um, freaks her out a bit. And so he gives her a lot of money to basically quiet her. And he then gets in the bed, covers up. We don't see him, and just kind of falls asleep. So she's running out, and her bag kind of falls on the floor. And so she's picking up her bag and picking up stuff. And she accidentally picks up this file folder that is in his house, and it's like of these murders that happened years ago. And the killer was supposed to have been caught and killed, but obviously the killer's is there. So she gets on a train, and she's the only one on it, and she calls pretty much she calls her friend to be there. This really weird thing happened to me. Um, she gets the call from the guy who basically you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have took that. I'm gonna get you,
Yeah.
type of thing. And you get this like really tense chase on this train, and it is so well done. And you could tell the work that was put into it, and then like even like the girl's way, like it's if you haven't seen it, like definitely check it out. But here's the thing. So when Argento started making this film, he had a whole bunch of like backers and like a whole bunch of like people like that were financially backing the film. So he got the train aspect done. He'd done just a little bit after that, and then for whatever reason happens, backers leave.
Oh
So,
wow.
and you can tell, like you can there's a lot of things he wanted to do in Sleepless that he just legit didn't have the money to do.
Couldn't
And
finish it the way he wanted to.
yeah, so you see it, and you can see it, and it's such a shame because it's a movie that has such a strong opening. It ghost ships it. So if you've seen Ghost Ship, you know what I mean. Then like Ghost Ship has that opening. Where do you go from there?
Yes, you can't beat it, man. That's like
You
you
can't
get
make
it
you
right
can't-
there.
Yeah, you can't go
Anybody
anywhere.
wants to see it, just watch the opening, then stop.
Oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah, there you go. Ghost Ship is a really good movie. The first
All right.
that 10 minutes is really good.
All right.
So it does it. It totally ghost ships it. We get this amazing opening that would be a great thing for an older Argento film that could follow it up. But because he lost the budget, and because he more than likely had to pick people that he wouldn't have normally picked. And it's such a shame too, because Max von Sydow really loved the movie, and he really loved his portrayal in the film. And he spoke with Argento later on. He said, we should bring this character back for another film. We should do like an earlier kind of like with this like detective character. And Argento's like, that's not a bad idea. So unfortunately, Max von Sydow passed away shortly after. But it would have been really interesting because the character was like, because when we meet the character, he's in the early stages of Alzheimer's, but he was like, he was a police detective, and it would have been interesting to see what Max von Sydow would have kind of brought to that role, because he was such a unique, kind of such a cool character.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I have to check it out.
I said, man, I'll get you. Nika's gonna get mad at me because I'm gonna get you like looking for movies that
Oh no, that's good.
Thanks,
You've done that before. I've been going through lists sometimes. I'm like, okay, he says this, and this. So
The
yeah,
Argento stuff. So if you liked opera, opera's got a weird ending.
yeah,
But like you get to like it's this amazing movie. It's got that scene with the eyes with the
yeah,
needles and you get the scene and with the it's a lot of eye stuff.
right,
Because you got Sergio Stavletti doing the effects, and he's the he's the Tom Savini of Italy.
yeah.
Um, and then you get to the end of it, and you're right at the end, and you're like, oh man, this has been quite a the hell is happening on my screen right now?
Right. Yeah.
Why is she rolling in the grass? What's going
He
on?
yeah, yeah, he does that every so often. It's just like, "What are you thinking here, Dario? What are you doing?" But, maybe he feels like it's some sort of artistic venture that he does when he does it, he kind of marches to his own beat. So,
I think that's kind of neat. I mean, like the thing though, I think it happens with a lot of these people. Like a lot of my favorite John Carpenter stuff is his early stuff, right? Like I love John Carpenter, but his early stuff just seemed to just hit this other level. And he's working with Deborah Hill at the time, and Deborah Hill wrote most of the dialogue for the females and like Halloween and stuff. That so it seems more legit, seems more realistic.
right.
Dario Argento worked with Darren Nicolotti, would be the wife of like the mom for Isaiah Argento.
Yeah.
Um, so she does a lot of writing stuff with him, and they're kind of a collaborative team. So I find like they're that area of film is when he's kind of at his best. And so he brought Darren Nicolotti back for opera. It was one, uh, I guess and you can tell like there's different like for Argento. I think you can tell his growth not in his films as kind of a person, right? So you look at his early films, and Argento is like he's like there's a guy, right? And he sees something, and there's usually like an evil person, often a female character that's actually duplicitous or evil, or there's kind of there's an oddness to it, right?
Mhm.
Um, so that's his early stuff. Then you get into like kind of the mid-range stuff, and you have like, and then all of a sudden females are the lead characters, and there's the females, and they're in peril, and that's around the time that Dario Argento had kids. He had daughters,
Yep.
so he's gone from being a single male uh, that's watching it for other guys, watching it for girls type thing. Who's going to break my heart? Uh, and so his film shift, and you get this like guy is the lead, then the girl's the lead, and then it just goes into like experimental territory where he seems like
Yep.
he's bored, and you're like he's doing like, okay, I'm going to make some other films. Like I'm not do Giallo anymore. I'm going to make something totally different. So he makes like 5 Days Milan
Right.
and doesn't do well. And he's like, I guess I'm making Giallo again.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then it makes Suspiria. Suspiria is really good. And I'm like, oh, wonderful. I will make these amazing like films. Um, and then he makes like after the Suspiria, he makes Inferno, and Inferno does okay, but doesn't do great. And he backs off. So he goes back to Giallo. And then he says, well, I'm not going to totally do Giallo. So he does like films like Card Player, which are procedurals, because he was watching CSI at the time.
Right.
He said, I think I'm going to make a CSI type movie. And I'm not sure if you saw Card Player or not, but that's his version of an extended CSI episode with a
No,
little
I
bit of
haven't
jail
seen
put
that
into
one
it.
either.
There's a tap dancing mortician.
Oh, wow.
Nico would like that.
Yeah.
But so it's weird.
Yeah,
And the guy,
you spoke of Carpenter, like, one thing that, Neko and I like to do is, go and watch people's reaction to, The Thing, and it's always the opening that we laugh at the most because people are like, if they hadn't seen it before, they're just immediately like, "Why are you trying to shoot the dog? Don't shoot the dog," and I'm like, "You just don't know, just wait, give it 5 more minutes, you're gonna see why." And it's always the funnest thing. I don't know if you ever watched the reaction videos of some of that stuff, but, people that never seen these films, I'm always, like, flabbergasted that they'd never seen it, but it's always fun because it really throws them for a loop when they see these films, so
I had a better because I went to a digital film festival a few years back. My better half had not seen the thing. She knew nothing about it.
Oh boy.
She, and Han's a massive animal person. So we go in there, and there's a sequence with the dogs in the dog kennel. And I have never seen somebody leave a theater so quickly in my entire life. She could not take it.
Yeah, they some people when they watch that, and I agree, this is the brilliance of that film, is that the practical effects in that are so realistic that you really think that they're happening to real dogs. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just it's that brutal.
Rob
And I
Bottin is so
just yeah, it's really a testament of time, man. Like I just that movie is just it ages so well. It can't really be topped by anything today. It's just but yeah, it's a painful scene to watch when you love animals, that's for sure.
good. And it's a shame because when they did the prequel, which I thought the story was solid,
Yeah,
um,
same here. Yep.
but they had practical effects and they made them take them all out for like these CGI effects, and it hurt
It pained me. I'm like, dude, you missed the opportunity. You missed it.
because you've got these fantastic actors, this like pretty solid story and sci-fi level CGI effects, and you're
Yep.
like,
And
it
it's like
does.
a lot of people like kind of wanted that. Like, even though we didn't want like a remake of, Carpenter's 82 version, but the prequel, you're thinking, yeah, this could be pretty good if they do it right, because it's gonna lead up to what happened in 82. And then I saw with all the CGI, and I'm like, no, it's gonna claw my face off.
Which is such a shame because like it's one of those missed opportunities. It's like when I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street, like the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I
So
never got through it.
did you get through it? I'm watching. I'm like, well, this is a place where I thought like well done CGI would be amazing
Right.
because it's Nightmare on Elm Street. So you're going into the dream world. There's a whole lot. The ideas and possibilities seem to be endless, but apparently not, because they take the most boring, just straightforward aspects of it. You don't do like these do this thing like where they meant micro napping, and it could have been such a good thing if they did it right.
Mhm.
But there's like look at part three. Like we'll go way back to like Dream Wars and see like the inventive kills and all this kind of cool stuff and the Freddy like worm type character and then you see this one and like he's like I'm gonna make this guy slash his throat. You know, your typical serial killer could have done that. That's boring.
Right. Yeah.
And then they take the girl that's really interesting, Katie Cassidy, whose character is like really fun. Like, oh, I really like her character, and kill her. And then they leave you with this like a good actress, but unfortunately a boring character. So you're
Yeah.
like, what am I supposed to do? And then like
Right.
Freddy's makeup is atrocious.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I like Jackie Earl Haley and on Watchmen is a great film, and he did a great job with Rorschach. But like the minute they announced that they were going to do that, I was like, ugh, you can't. I mean, I know it's kind of petty sometimes because like I know the younger generation wants to experience their own movies and stuff like that, so that's like why a lot of remakes get done. But I'm just like, at some level, like, you can get away with it when you're doing Jason or Michael Myers because it's just a mask, but there
Yeah.
was character behind Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger that you can't really mimic or copy. Like, it's just something that it's his,
Like it's
it's his
hard. I
character.
mean, I remember for years people said, "Well, you should be Kevin Bacon." And Kevin Bacon said, I don't want to do it." But I could, I'm okay with them doing if they do it right. Um, like if you're gonna go in and pretend like, oh, actually didn't do anything, like he's actually innocent. Uh, okay, that's an interesting concept. Uh, like, where are you gonna go with that?
Mhm.
Nowhere, because like, oh no, he's not. Psych, he's not innocent at all. Here's a whole bunch of pictures, so you like nail it in. Like
Yeah.
everything was so like, and these were people you could tell. I listened to the commentary on it, and I actually appreciate it more from the commentary than I do from watching the film, because they really loved like Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm like, why did you do it like this? Why did you make this film like this? And they're like, oh,
Right.
and this is a T-shirt. She's wearing the T-shirt that Johnny Depp wore, and like there's a sequence right here. I mean, that's wonderful. Homage like crazy. That is great. Here's the thing. This is an unpopular opinion. Prom Night, right? Classic 1980 slasher film. Some people, like younger people, sometimes find it a bit slow. I actually really love it. I think it's a fantastic film. So the remake Prom Night, it's nothing like the original film, and it's PG-13. Ooh, this is the dreaded PG-13.
Right.
So like people hate it. People hate it before they see it. They hate it before it comes out. They're like, because it's PG-13. And then you get people to say, well, this is not Prom Night. It's nothing like the original film. It's the plot line is completely different. And I'm thinking that's kind of what I like when it comes to some of this stuff. So if you've got to if you're going to remake something, like don't take the cycle route, because that's because you're putting something up there, especially if it's a big film. It's okay if it's a
Mhm.
little film nobody's seen it type thing, and you can easily do it, right? But if it's a movie like Repeal, there's certain scenes that like indelibly like put on people's heads. Don't do that, because the only thing that's going to do is going to make people go look at that, and they're gonna say, man, they did it better the first time around. So I dug Prom Night because it was nothing to do with and I'm pretty alone in this one, by the way. Most people hate that film, because it's a nihilistic film, and I like some of the '80s kind of nihilistic type horror where
Mhm.
basically like things aren't great at the end.
Right.
Uh, Dorm to Drip Blood is one of those. Spare You is another one where it does not work out good in the end of the film. The Sorority Row, the original Sorority House on Sorority Row, is another one where they did that. And this one here is, the movie literally starts. You've seen it, right?
The new one? Prom
Yeah, the
Night?
one back in like
No,
2000s.
no. Um, but you did have a point because you mentioned about how you approached Zombies Halloween differently now than before. I was one of those people when they remade Suspiria, I was like, I'm gonna hate this. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
hate this film. But I actually came out liking it more than I thought I would because it was totally different. He took all three films of the trilogy and put them together. Was nothing like the first one to use dance as your main catalyst for the witchcraft and all that. The only thing I thought was bad about it was the end because despite many people saying that's probably the best part, I was like, well, that's where he kind of went Argento. He's like tried so hard for most of the movie to avoid being Argento, and then at the end decided to go all Argento. And I'm like, you didn't have to do that. You were doing fine, you know. But I came out liking the film better, and I appreciate it as its own entity. I don't have to worry about it being Argento Suspiria at all. So
that's the thing. Like people always say, well, there's too many remakes. There's too many of this and that. There's lots of original films being made every day. Like, yeah, Shutter, like Tubi, just movies in general. There's lots of original movies being made. It's just that we know more about. Like, okay, there's an Exorcist movie, an Exorcist Believer, right?
yeah,
Jose made Exorcist, a completely different film. That could have been, like you've seen it. So that could have done the lazy route and said, "Oh, let's just do Exorcist."
yeah.
And instead, it has this cool twist, like 40 minutes in, it really becomes its own thing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really, really dig that, especially Doug Bradley, man. And Kayla, holy crap. She is so good. She is eventually going to be, I
Talking about,
do
you're
think
talking
she's
about
gonna be somebody.
Silverman, the girl that was possessed.
Yeah. Oh, she's been doing a few things. She was in like, hey there, trash man, welcome. Um, she's been in a few things actually. I think she was
Yeah,
in
I
Bones
saw
and stuff.
there. Yeah, there's some things that I had looked in her IMDb, but she was really impressive in The Exorcist. Like I was like, her like mannerisms and her humor was great on top. Like the whole like, "Oh, she's coming unhinged." I
Yeah,
just couldn't help but laugh. Like so she was really really good in that. I thought she did a good job of that.
it was good. And I'm like watching the movie and I'm seeing this young actress, uh, like the one that plays the doctor, uh, so Kayla Fields, and I'm like, and I had this like feeling that I get sometimes when I'm watching an actor. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, they're probably about 5 or 10 years from now, I'm gonna know a lot more people are gonna know who this actor is."
Yeah.
I had that, like, you got that sense with you. Have that sixth sense for these things, man.
Yep. Yep. Most definitely.
But it's
Well, I gotta work tomorrow, unfortunately. So
yeah, I actually have to sleep too, so but it has
yeah,
been
I'm
great having you back on,
surprised you're
man.
even still moving at this point.
Well, it is like 2:45 here, so I am barely moving. I'm actually it's very chill.
But that's how easy it is just to talk movies with you. You know.
Yeah, it is always a pleasure. We're gonna get you back on sometime in the near future for we'll talk werewolves,
Yes,
which
sir,
is something.
man.
We'll have that
Very.
dueling list.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually. So yeah, keep me updated on what is available for you, what days.
Well, the next couple of days are gonna be insane. So fingers crossed on those. But I'll probably contact you when I reach Canada.
All right, man. Well, be safe. Have a safe travel, and I will see you next time.
See you
Thanks,
Saturday.
chat. Have a good night, folks.
And there you go, guys. We had a surprise guest come in at the. You never know what's going to happen on this channel, right? It was a fair. You got to watch Jess Frank. You got to watch Jess Frank films. You really do. I would like to say I'm going to go watch Jess Frank films, Twisted, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to sleep. Thank you all for coming in tonight. It's been a fun little ride, and this is a definitely, as you can tell, an off the cuff, kind of just easy, chill video. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great night and happy Halloween month.